Hi there, I'm Elizabeth Barry, and I'm reminding you to get out of your own way and step into your vulnerability. Go beyond ego and become authentically who you are in this life, in this present moment, and in the future. I recently wrote a book called The Kind Communicator. It's about compassion and wisdom and empathetic communication for leaders and adults. And I'm hosting workshops, and in my recent workshop, I had attendees fill out an anonymous sheet of paper to say what is the one thing that they are having trouble communicating right now that they would like advice and help with. And I just have this awesome video series where I'm just providing my advice to you. This person said, I am having trouble communicating and responding in a helpful, positive way when coworkers want to shit talk or be negative Nancy. Well, this one is very close to heart for me. There's a lot of toxic office environments out there, and I'm just going to start out by saying that in the book, The Kind Communicator, there's a part where I say that I am looking to become my coaching, my business coaching and consulting and workshops and lunch and learns and seminars can become your new office culture. Because when offices think office culture is getting a ping pong table or taking people out for beers or bowling and it's gonna be like cool culture, right? Well, the shit's still gonna be there, right? So you take people out, you give them a few drinks, they have a good time, they come back, and the communication patterns and habits of the negative Nancy and the shit talk at the water cooler or behind people's back is still going to happen. And until you realize that office culture is really a happy, healthy, communicative environment, you're never going to have the results that you can get. But if you are someone that is an employee working through a situation like this where people are talking in the office and it's kind of annoying to you, first of all, I was in a situation like that. I've been an entrepreneur now for 13 years and celebrating my 13-year anniversary in March 2019. And I really couldn't deal with it. I was 36 at the time, I think, 36, 34, something like that. And I had no, when I ended up working in an office for 2 years, I really didn't work there. I couldn't deal with the toxic, there was a girl crying at her desk. She had fucking shoes all under her desk, like 20 pairs of gross shoes, platforms under her desk. She was fighting with one of the guys. Pretty much every day they were on the deck crying and fighting, and it was absurd. And she caused havoc in the office, and there were a bunch of millennials, and they were just like beep, 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 beep. And it just became like this toxic ticking time bomb that I couldn't deal with at 36 years old. So I used to go and work at a French coffee shop, and then I just took my phone and I worked from home. I just didn't deal with it. And lucky enough, the gentleman that I was working for just totally respected me and was, I was the one who was like walking out. I was like, all right, I quit. I'm done. And he was like, Elizabeth, you're better than that. You're like the founder of the Women in Business Council in Hoboken. You're the Woman in Business of the Year. So I really kept my composure, but I lost it at the same time. But I understand employees that are surrounded by shit talk at the office. They wrote that. There's shit talk. Because it's true. Negative Nancy's. If you're not one of them and you're embracing that, this toxic behavior, this schoolyard BS, it's like adults that never grew up from being in the schoolyard being like, he. It's ridiculous. It does no one any good to talk about people behind their back or with other people at work. So if you're in a situation, I was thinking about how to answer this, and I'm going to come up with like ways that you can respond, or it says, how do I communicate or respond in a way? My pure advice is to simply just don't become part of it. If you are in the circle and they're talking, smile, nod, make your way back to your desk, your cubicle, your office, go take a walk. Just don't be around it. There's really no way to communicate healthily because what's going to happen is if you do take part in 1 word, 2 words, 3 words, a paragraph, whatever it is that you're going to communicate in that situation, you are a part of it. And then if those toxic people can throw you under the bus for what you said a month later, a year later, or a week later, or tomorrow. So you really don't want to get caught up in that, because what happens is you get caught up in it, and then it takes like a 50-pound weight on your back, and you're like carrying this stuff around, and then you don't want to go to work anymore. I never wanted to go into that office. It was like an suffocating, toxic cloud, and it was awful. And you don't want to participate in that. Stay away from it. If you have an HR department, we never had an HR department. I went to my boss several times, but he just told me to be the bigger person, so I just didn't work there. I worked from home. I was like, get the fuck out of here. But don't get caught up, smile, nod, walk away, and my advice is simply don't be a part of the negative Nancy shit talking at the office, because chances are they're going to throw you under the bus, and offer up the opportunity to have a business coach come in and teach culture, teach healthy ways to communicate, teach people to not throw people under the bus, teach people how to respond via email, not long drawn out, not demeaning behavior, not pointing and blaming and forcing things to happen at businesses. It's just not the way to do it. So if you're dealing with this situation, just don't be a part of it. Just don't. And if it continues to happen and you try to offer up advice to your boss or your department, and they just, sometimes culture is really trickle down. The trickle down theory is always in full effect. If the management is lacking, it's going to trickle down to the management, to the teams, to the people, and then ultimately the clients are going to feel it, because projects probably won't get finished and whatnot. So ultimately, if it continues and you don't want to be a part of it anymore, then maybe just think about where you want to be. I'm in my 40s, and I love the hell out of knowing that we all have choices. Now, I don't have kids, I don't own a home, and I know that a lot of people are dealing with this with kids and a home and a mortgage and cars and schools and all that stuff. It's not as easy, but if there's a will, there's a way. And my advice is that quality of life is more important than status or title or job. And if you're suffering in your quality of life at the office, chances are you're going to bring that stress home. And it causes wrinkles. It causes, just all of these bad patterns like sleeplessness and insomnia and stress and anxiety. And sometimes that can't be fixed if the management doesn't care to see it, turns a blind eye, and it can really become a hurtful situation for you. So if you need more advice, I'd be more than happy to work with you. My name is Elizabeth Barry. You can find me at elizabethbarryconsulting.com. I do a lot of writing on LinkedIn. I'm on Instagram, Elizabeth Barry Leadership, and I have a Beyond Ego page on Facebook. It's a group for people who wish to go beyond ego, and I truly hope that this helps anyone going through a tough situation with office chatter that is toxic and suffocating. And if you're a boss or a manager that is allowing that, and you're looking at this video and you're listening and you're thinking, that you're a culprit of it, then give me a call, because you don't have to be, and your teams are really suffering because of it. And ultimately that leads to unhappiness in the workplace, employees leaving, and loss of profits, loss of happiness, and that kind of sucks. So be good, be kind, and I will see you soon.